Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Do you know how hard it is, Stugotz, for you to be watching television on Monday night to see that game between Tennessee and Miami and to have your television experience the following night be worse than that? That's hard. That's mathematically difficult. Chris Cody is working on a character here that he's looking to debut on today's show.
You're talking about baseball?
Baseball was good yesterday.
Yeah, what were you watching yesterday? It was bad.
Basketball was good, too.
Yeah, what was bad?
Guys, we have a lot to get to.
Preseason hockey? Who cares?
We need to move on. We just have a lot. Let's stay focused on the topic.
Okay.
Amin is here. That's always exciting, and I'm interested to get some good Karl Anthony Towns analysis as opposed to most of what it is that we've been doing around here. Tony, what are you dressed as?
Today I'm the guy from Reno 911, New Boot Goofin. They just didn't buy the boots, so I'm old Boot Goofin.
I thought you were Farva.
Oh.
Leader Cola?
Yeah.
I thought you were going for Chips a long time ago.
That's what I thought,
a motorcycle television show from
Eric Estrada?
I can be anything you want,
Can you
Dan.
take a step back?
Oh,
I need,
Ponch.
if you're really doing Reno 911, we need to see how short those shorts are.
The shorts aren't short enough, as you can see. Like, they need to be, like...
No one can see yet.
It's a shadow
see.
show.
No
You
one can
roll
see.
them
This
up
is audio
there.
only. And also, as an added bonus, no one can hear you because you weren't so
Well, no,
far
I
away
was
from the
far
microphone.
away from the mic. But you can hear me from back here. The thing is, the shorts are too long, Dan. I need them shorter. I've rolled them up 3 times.
So you don't have boots and you don't have the proper shorts, and we're
a
asking
wedgie.
you what it is that you're doing, and we think you're something other than what you are.
Dan, I can be whatever you want me to be. It's okay. You want me to be
Super
Chips? I'll be
Trooper
Chips.
That's Stugotz's fantasy right there.
Yes.
You're saying that to him.
Tony is Ponch.
Poncherelli is Italian.
Poncherelli was Italian, even though he wasn't Italian. I was looking for the Ponch joke, P-A-U-N-C-H on Stugotz, but I didn't want to start the morning. I didn't want to start the morning there with some hostilities. Billy, what are you guys doing in Chicago? I don't sense a general enthusiasm from you and Stugotz about going to Chicago.
Well, it's a day-to-day situation.
Tony's fired
Yep.
up.
I'm very
fluid,
excited.
yeah.
Very excited.
It's a fluid situation, Dan.
Yeah. Getting daily updates on
Love
what it is.
Chi-Town.
Trying to plan it, but
Chicagoland,
one
love
day to
it.
the next, you know.
That's not much of a promotion for what it is that
Come
you're
see
doing.
us. We'll be there.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it with some flair and some
Joe's
some
on
pomps and
weed.
circumstance, Dan? Is that what you want?
Joe's on Weed Street, my favorite street in America. How about that?
I'll be there. Stugotz will be there.
Stew on weed.
12 Eastern. I've been told now we're going to be on a stage performing for a live crowd. So you can be part of that live crowd if you'd like to be. Just show up at the bar and then be over the age that you need to be.
Guys, we got a lot to get to.
Well,
we need
hold
to
on.
stay focused here.
Trying.
Dan asked him to.
Yeah.
promote
I'll
it.
cut your
Just
mics.
Answering the question. Okay. Well.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat from the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go on, motherfucker, get by peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man, so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
A lot of people, Stugotz, were very excited yesterday because Daniel Day-Lewis is coming out of retirement, a person that some people would argue is the best actor that is going today.
Who are these people? And let me be the first to say, people, get a life. I
Yeah.
mean, seriously.
Also, by the way, if you're surprised, grow up.
Thank
Everybody knew that he was not retired. The guy wanted a vacation. Then you say, I'm never going to do it again, so you up your value. So the next time it's like, you really got to give him the bag. He's retired now. He's not going to work again. Please. The guy, all he does is walk around and limp around, pretend like his foot doesn't work or whatever. Like, oh, what a method actor, blah, blah, blah. And now he's coming back and he's going to like live in a fish tank or something. Like, what are we even doing?
There's 3 retirements I never take seriously. Number 1, Daniel Day-Lewis. Number 2, Tom Brady.
Yep.
Number 3, Diana Taurasi.
Really?
Yeah. Don't
How
take
about
it
aging
seriously.
rock bands?
Elton John.
Oh, yeah. Anybody who says
Stones,
the last
right.
tour, anytime they say
Any
the last,
musician ever.
Dead and Company.
they're never retiring. Never.
So you guys aren't taking this where I thought you would be, which is a celebration of one of the great thespians in America returning to work.
Oh, please.
No.
Well, he's
Great.
coming back to act in, I think, his son's movie, Dan. Do we know if his son is a good filmmaker or not?
I'm going to guess no.
He works hard.
I'm going to guess no.
The name of the movie, I don't know what it's
It's
about.
nepotism.
Is Anemotism.
The name of the movie wasn't getting made without Daddy being in it.
Okay, and
Bullseye.
Wordy title.
let's just play Stugotz's previous dismissal of one of the great thespians of our time.
And finally, 3-time Oscar winner Daniel Day-Lewis has retired from acting. Good.
Why good?
Who cares about Daniel Day-Lewis? Takes himself way too seriously. I'm tired of him. The actor's actor. Please, get so deep inside the role, please. Daniel Day-Lewis, go away.
Okay.
See how empty your life is without acting. Have fun, enjoy it.
It's a good point, and we can't even trust that he's not just researching a retiree's role because that's what he does.
Exactly.
The guy's a liar.
Right. A person who's retired from acting for his next. Exactly right. That's something that he would do.
Well, he is a method actor. When he did My Left Foot, he only tried to use his left foot for many months when he was offset. I would say that Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the few actors that if he leaves acting, it's a genuine loss because he is a thespian.
Mm-hmm. It's the last good thing he's done. Go ahead, name it. I dare you.
I mean,
go ahead, Lincoln.
There Will Be Blood.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was back in 2007, though. What have you done for me lately?
I mean, if you told me he was coming back and doing a Paul Thomas Anderson film, I would have been excited. But now I'm sort of holding my breath a little bit.
That sounded like someone doing a Stugotz impression.
It did. It didn't sound like Stugotz at all. I was like, who is this guy?
That was Stugotz.
Full of youth and vigor.
Yeah.
Is it because the voice was clearly filled with energy and youth and not sort of tattered by self-destructive tendencies and age?
What are you talking about?
If he was such a great actor, do a comedy. How about Show Me Some Range, great actor? Always do the same thing. Not a great actor.
Here's some range in Stugotz's voice.
See how empty your life is without acting.
That's a good point by you, Chris. Like, it really does sound like someone doing a great Stugotz.
See how empty your life is without acting. Have fun, enjoy it.
Why does your voice sound so much stronger?
I don't know.
My voice is also deteriorated, so I'm not sitting here just criticizing you, saying we haven't both aged.
Dan, I'm going to stand up for you. Your voice is not deteriorated. It is aged like fine wine because early Le Batard, very high-pitched and whiny all the time and very upset all the time. I've listened to the first episode. I think I've done this before. I listened to the very first episode of the Dan Le Batard Show, and you were so – I'm like, why is this guy so angry? He's like, that's not the kind of show we're going to do. We're going to have Chris Mortensen on. We're going to have the experts on. I'm like, why are you angry, dude? And then it finds out that because people said you guys were going to die and within like 12 months or whatever.
I have had tone issues for my entire life doing this, and I've never fixed it, and I've known it's a problem, and I know that it makes me strident, somewhere between strident and sanctimonious, unlikable, and it dilutes my message, and I've never been able to fix it even a little bit.
It's gotten better, though.
It's like, imagine Daniel Day-Lewis in Super Badder, the sequel to Super Bad, and he kills it. That would be incredible. That would be impressive, would it not?
I'll be impressed when I see Daniel Day-Lewis as John Wiener in the Dan Le Batard
Daniel
story.
Day-Lewis.
Don Le Batard?
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
They got to change the name.
He's just chain smoking heaters to get ready for the role.
Well, they didn't get the life right, so.
Can you imagine what
Coaching
the method acting for Daniel Day-Lewis to play Stugotz would be?
He becomes a Jets fan.
You made it Don Le Batard. Why?
They don't have the rights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to go Don.
It's
You played hardball.
You got to sign it over, Dan.
You take the A, you make it an O. Boom.
I refuse to have Daniel Day-Lewis in a recreation of my life. I absolutely refused. I held on to my name because I didn't want to be represented by one of the great actors of our time.
You're not. Stu is, and that's why you were mad. And you
right.
signed
This
it
is like
over.
John
You'd be
Favreau.
upset
You were
about it,
mad,
right,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah, John Favreau.
No.
That's
John Favreau
spot
as
on.
Don Le Batard.
Jim Belushi.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
That's what. Because if you say Favreau, he'll say yes. You got to figure out the name. He'll say yes to Favreau.
I don't think so.
You wouldn't
had
want
a head
Favreau to
tilt.
play you?
I'm with
No.
Amin. I think he's accomplished enough where Dan would be
No,
okay with
but
it.
as a
Not
director.
thrilled, but okay with it.
Not
Yes.
as an actor.
Yeah.
Dan doesn't want Favreau acting as him.
You don't want Favreau playing you?
I don't know why you would believe that Billy is speaking for me accurately. Like, I don't know why you're...
It's just you did
He's
the head
never lied.
thing. We
Guys,
saw
how
it.
about an aged Leonardo DiCaprio for playing Dan?
I'd go Chris Penn. Is
Oh, man.
He's not with us anymore.
Rest in peace.
even better. I think it has to be somebody who looks a little swollen and
Jim Belushi.
is also B-list.
Jim Belushi.
B-list.
According to Jim.
Yeah, I think it can't be Leonardo DiCaprio.
No.
Daniel
Now
Day-Lewis
you've gone too far.
is going to be in a movie alongside another A-list actor.
Well, we blew the budget on Stugotz, though.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense.
Jim Belushi.
That's so you need somebody who is a bit frumpy. How about John Lovitz? He's too small.
Yeah, too small.
You know,
Ooh,
I
what
just
about
saw. Go
one
ahead.
of the Baldwins.
Daniel
Wow.
Baldwin.
The one that we beefed with.
The heavy one.
Years
Daniel?
ago, yeah.
Zach Galifianakis, not terrible. The facial hair, I'm telling you, you see
A
this
little
picture
small, though. He needs to be
here?
bigger.
But we
Dan's
can
too big.
we can hide that at the camera.
Well, how is Daniel Day-Lewis going to shrink himself down to Stugotz
He's
height?
a method actor.
He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out,
I'm
right.
not worried about that.
Exactly. He'll take 7 years off. He'll figure it out.
Good luck at 5'8". I mean,
5'8".
5'8".
on a good day.
You guys just dismiss a couple of things about
Men
Daniel.
always add 2 inches.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Welcome back, Jess. Daniel Day-Lewis lived in Italy for a while to be a cobbler. He was actually making shoes in
No, he
Italy.
wasn't.
Okay,
Jesus.
I mean, I'm just telling
You'll
you.
believe
You
anything.
believe exactly right. You
He didn't
believe
make a single
anything they
shoe.
tell you.
You guys won't believe anything. Like that's it. You guys call everyone a liar. Any fact that's placed in front of you. You guys are the reason there's disinformation all over America.
Yeah, we're the reason, not the
Yes,
actor that tells
it's
you
you
he's
guys.
selling shoes in Italy that no one can verify.
That's a pretty good. You know what? That's a good side by side, Chris.
How about James Corden? Would you have James Corden be you?
With jet black hair, he paints it
Be
black.
fun.
It works, I think.
Yeah, I think it works too. James Corden opposite Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't think Daniel.
Would it be a musical?
Lewis is going to take that role. What do you have this movie being? You have it being a musical.
Well, we're workshopping it. Yeah.
Okay.
The Don Le Batard Show.
Guys, we need to move on.
John Goodman.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Hold on.
Mics
No.
will go off.
Let's speak about another Daniel, Jalen Daniels. The idea
Good
that he
transition.
has started, about 10 minutes too late. The idea that he has started his career completing all of his passes. We spent all of yesterday talking about a truly abysmal Tennessee Titans Dolphins game, while in the other game being played last night, you had, Monday night, you had all completions by the Detroit Lions, and we talked about the dreadful game. We've also talked a lot this season about how bad the quarterback play has been, how good the defenses are, how many 20 to 15 games there are. And the Commanders have the most efficient offense in the league, and this kid is just getting started. Like, how is that possible? Cam Newton came out of the box with one 400-yard game and then settled into being good, but not what Cam Newton became right out of the gate.
Right.
I don't know how many times in my career I've seen a rookie quarterback not named Dan Marino start with 4 games like I got this figured out. I'm okay here. You can slow me some in Tampa, but I'm not somebody who the game is moving too fast for. Like, give me all the examples you have off of the top of your head of a quarterback who has started this well 4 games in, where they start him and it's just obvious right away, oh my God, he's going to be great. C.J. Stroud did some of this.
C.J. Stroud did a lot of that. I can't believe I'm saying this, but 4 games in, Brock Purdy was pretty good. Like, There was no learning curve for him. He was good right away, Brock Purdy.
He was excellent. And
Yeah.
it was like a 13-game streak of like, oh, wow, he might be the best quarterback in the league. Obviously, he's got great weapons. But, Dan, on the Jaden Daniels point, like, he's doing with so many limitations, too. Like, offensively, they've got two guys that are okay. Terry McLaurin's a good wide receiver. Robinson Jr. is a good running back. But he's got kind of nobody else. Noah Brown, Diami Hill. Like
He's got him.
Yeah, sure. And he's already doing it with one hand tied behind his back with Cliff Kingsbury, who's not really a great OC.
RG3, at the very beginning, we were concerned that he was going to get hurt. And so I don't remember what his first 4 games were like exactly. He was running around a good amount.
Also, Brock Purdy, not to be a stickler, his first 4 games he didn't play.
Right.
He was on the roster. He was sitting there. He was watching. Then he played a couple of
How about the
downs.
games he played?
What's up? The games. Well, he played 3 games before the streak you're talking about. I mean, he got into a game. He didn't start the game, obviously. His first 4 starts, yes, but he had been on a roster. He had gotten in some games, 3 different games. What Dan is describing is someone's like fresh out of training camp. Here I am, football. This is easy. Like that's the crazy part.
That part makes no sense. There is no such thing as that, largely. That somebody comes in and the game isn't so sped up that you're watching and you're like, oh, this person has comfort doing what he is doing. It wasn't that for Peyton Manning. I'll tell you that. Peyton Manning.
Peyton had one of the worst rookie seasons of any quarterback in the history of the NFL.
That's
he did.
a little strong.
But he got all the starts. He started 16 games, and the Colts, Jim Irsay said this. He goes, he has the mentality to overcome a bad season.
He threw a lot of interceptions. I don't know that I would call it one of the worst seasons a quarterback has ever had, given how bad quarterback play is, but I'm still not. C.J. Stroud. It took a minute, correct? It wasn't like this. It wasn't. He takes the field, and you're like, oh, he's got this all figured out through the first month of the season.
I feel like it was right away with CJ. Just getting back to RG3 for a second. His first game as a starter, he was 19 of 26, 320 yards, had 2 touchdowns. I mean, and he ran for like 70 yards in that game. He was good. The team was good. They made it to the playoffs. He got hurt.
I think you saw glimpses with Stroud, right? Because he had played some decent games, and you were like, oh, wait a second. Like, there's something there. Who would make a throw here and there. You'd be like, oh, wow, that's it. And then towards the middle half of the season, it was just like, oh, this guy's incredible. Jaden Daniels out of the box is like 82% completion percentage against a decent team, and then he does it again, and then he does it again. And it's like, could this guy be not only Rookie of the Year, but MVP? Seriously?
C.J. Stroud, his first game had no touchdowns, no interceptions, but the next 5 games, he had 11 touchdowns and 1 interception.
He was great.
He didn't have his second interception until like November, mid-November. Like he was excellent to start his career.
But with Jaden, Dan is right. It's not so much the numbers, the touchdowns, the yards. He's been good. Hasn't been great. It's the poise. It's deciding when to run, when not to run. It's not turning the ball over. He's been incredible.
The math that I'm doing isn't something you can find in a stat sheet. It is people watching at home, especially the people with teams that have quarterback problems, saying through 4 games of the first month of the season, oh, shit, Washington's going to be a problem for a decade if that stays healthy. It's the same reason you're surprised that Jacksonville is playing so closely against Houston, because you already trust that C.J. Stroud. You're already expecting Houston to be a favorite in most of the games that it plays just because of what their quarterback did last season, where I just don't have a lot of instances. As I said, Cam Newton's first game was 400 yards. I don't have a lot. He won an MVP later on, and they went to a Super Bowl. I don't have a lot of instances when I'm watching a team and I'm saying that otherwise throughout the league, all the other teams are having trouble with scoring, and offense and defense seems ahead because of everything with the preseason. And I'm looking at a franchise that has been among the worst anywhere in sports in terms of leadership for 25 years. Problem solved. Problem solved.
Yeah.
You're also looking at the NFC East and being like, is Jaden Daniels playing the best out of every quarterback in the NFC East and multiple guys with $240 million plus contracts? Like,
that's the other thing.
Well, that depends. Do you value touchdowns?
Yes.
Oh, damn. Daniel Jones is out. I mean, if you didn't value touchdowns, I'm like, wait a second. Danny Dimes.
It's also only 4 games into his career, right? Like adjustments will be made, and then he's going to have to adjust to the adjustments. Like
adjust to the adjustments.
It's early
yes.
on. And
That's the chess game.
I don't think that you can actually ever say in the NFL like this is a sure thing for a decade, right? Like Joe Burrow, we thought, wow, the Bengals are going to be there forever. They're going to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's still playing well, though, Billy.
But
when he's healthy.
Yeah, but the Bengals are not really a threat, are they? Like, and the Chiefs have the record, but you can look at the Chiefs and say that doesn't look exactly the same if they don't start making moves. Like, there's just not really sure things in the NFL anymore, are there?
We're not sure of anything, Dan.
Well, and obviously because injuries play such a huge role in it.
I'm not saying that I will be right in saying problem solved. I'm saying that everyone's having that sort of reaction, and then you can do all the qualifiers after that. Might get hurt. Football is hard. A lot of things are in play, but you know that somebody's good already, and that the adjustments to the adjustments don't seem to be a problem for him. Like if you're coming out, this is the worst he'll be. He's going to keep getting better with the repetitions of excellence. Like what you're presently watching is the worst professional him.
Wait until he figures it out. I mean,
how can that be wrong? What it is that I'm saying?
This is not the worst he's going to be.
Yeah, this is
there's no.
It's exactly what Billy just said. They're going to make adjustments, and if he doesn't know how to adjust the adjustment,
no, I'm not saying that this is the worst he's going to be statistically. I'm saying this is the least he'll know. That with reps and with experience that he's going to continue to get better. What I mean
is that all of us?
I mean, yes, it's all of us, but all of us don't start this way. Yes, it's all of us, and you should know as somebody who believes in front office expertise and the measuring of talent that this is as raw as this is going to look. Like if you keep giving him seasons of snaps. And the only thing that becomes a problem is his physical health because somebody might hit him in a way that his body deteriorates. But I just saw Derrick Henry run through a secondary at his age with all of that mileage on his body. And there are things that science can do now that helps these guys somehow recover and stay healthy. Did you guys see Derrick Henry's eating routine? He doesn't evidently eat most days until 5. So he's literally running through your secondary hungry. Like he does.
Well, he eats on Sundays, Dan.
He does eat on Sundays.
Binge eats on Sundays. That's what it is. But no, I saw it, Dan. He doesn't eat gluten. He doesn't eat a bunch of different things. And then before practice, he'll have an avocado and a banana. And that's what he does.
It's like a weird, bizarro version of Dan. You know how Dan, how is it you don't eat any of these things and you still stay big? But he's in great shape, and Dan's
not running 22 miles an hour through the Bills secondary.
I mean, you've been very mean to Dan today.
Have I? I told him, hey, they're going to make a movie of your life, and they're not going to have the rights to it, but they're going to have Daniel Day-Lewis play Stugotz, and Dan was kind of nonplussed. He kind of poo-pooed, by the way. He poo-pooed some of our acting, like Jim Belushi. Didn't like Jim Belushi. Didn't like Corden. Didn't like Galifianakis.
Didn't like
Favreau.
Goodman, yeah.
Favreau? How dare you say no to Favreau?
I didn't say no
you
to
said
anybody.
No to Favreau.
Accomplished actor, yeah.
A lot of people were speaking for me, as is the case around here.
Jeff Bridges.
Sure.
No, see, that's
now we got him.
But then
you get a quick response. You know, Dan, Amin is right. If he gives you a quick response, that means he's good with it.
Okay, how about they couldn't...
He's mad at Amin.
They couldn't reach an agreement, so they settle on Patrick Warburton.
Oh, Putty.
A lot of people my entire life have been calling me Flounder from Animal House, if you want to get that picture up there from a million years ago. That's something that greeted me my first show on Pardon the Interruption. They were already unwelcoming. Already people didn't want me there because I was neither Tony nor Mike. And what I got was, who put Flounder from Animal House on Pardon the Interruption?
Oh, is that to do with the hat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
How about Newman from Seinfeld?
Oh, Wayne Knight.
It gets meaner, Jessica. It keeps getting meaner.
What?
Hold on.
What?
Flounder?
It's like you don't know what you're doing. You were trying to compliment me with Newman from Seinfeld.
Better than Flounder.
Flounder's got the eyes.
It's the eyebrows, too.
That's Le Batard eyes right there. Just take this strip right here.
That would be like young Dan, though, right? Like in a flashback scene is young Dan.
Crying at the Miami Herald because he can't
be-
succeed at the beat work.
It would be young Don.
Young Don.
Don.
Who's
Don.
future Don? Because this is a time travel movie, obviously.
And also, young Don works at the South Florida Sentinel. You
Ah.
gotta change enough stuff so that Dan
South
like
Florida
it.
Herald,
Right.
just so we don't get any.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can you
Right, mix
play
'em up.
that audio and that video, please, of a sweaty John Gruden really being excited about about Daniels?
You know why I'm so sweaty? I've been watching Jaden Daniels on film. That's it. I just sit here watching Jaden Daniels, and I start sweating. My heart starts beating. Watching him run around. This guy's freaking awesome.
That's kind of porny.
Great.
Breathy.
It's pornographic. It's a
I'll
little.
tell you, man, I'm watching them and I'm just sweating.
Breathy.
here,
You got to
man.
go breathier.
The sweat just starts pouring out of me, man, when I watch that film.
I want to play that again, please, and I want to tell you, I want to give you this as context. This is not a football coach. This is not a football coach talking about a quarterback. This is just a man emerging from a booth at the Pleasure Emporium.
You know why I'm so sweaty? God, I've been watching Jaden Daniels on film. That's it. I just sit here watching Jaden Daniels, and I start sweating. My heart starts beating. Watching him run around. This guy's freaking awesome.
I love any statement that starts with, you know why I'm sweating? You have my attention.
Why?
Because it's like, no one ever asks, hey, man, why are you sweating?
It's a good follow-up.
You got to start with, you know why I'm sweating? Just this is my introduction right here.
I generally know why someone is sweating when they're sweating.
You never know.
They're walking in from a hot outside.
Or
watching
You just
Jaden
got-
Daniels.
Oh, you just
There you
left
go.
the gym, watching Jaden Daniels.
Well,
tape.
maybe you assume that's what he was doing, and he's clarifying.
That's a lot of sweat to be watching NFL highlights. Someone has to say it. It's too much.
His handle is Gruden loves football.
I saw that. I didn't know that's an aggregator or that's his
Hey, I'm not
actual.
sure.
I just looked it up right now while we were talking, and it seems to be all Gruden videos, but I don't know if it's actually him or just someone who
Is
loves
it LUV or is it LOVE?
LOVE.
If we go behind
He's
the
the
scenes,
LUV guy.
if we go behind the scenes on this video, did he just get done with a workout and he's doing a thing?
No,
Did he
he's
pour
watching
tape,
water
dude. He was
onto
watching
his thing?
Jaden,
We're
yeah.
not listening, yeah.
Well, behind the scenes. That's the scene right there.
What really happened? I've got he just took a water bottle and poured it on his chest.
No way.
And it's just like, I've been watching film, man. I'm going to do a video. Hey, honey, I'm going to go in the office. I got an idea for a video. I've been watching Jaden Daniels film, man. He probably hasn't watched
there's
any
some
film.
Biden there. Wait a minute. What were those
Oh, well,
hands?
the hands
were
is-
Biden. The hands were
You want
all
Biden, Biden
all
control.
Biden.
Listen, man. That's a pretty good John Gruden. I can't say so myself.
Tony, that was a good teammate, handing him your
it was.
Reno 911 glasses to help him with the Biden
I like-
impersonation.
The noise Chris made while he was putting the glasses on,
Yeah.
we might need to cut for later.
How about that debate last night?
Juju, put it on the poll, please. Is Gruden loves football redundant at Le Batard Show? How about that debate last night? James Carville is about to join us. How did you guys feel about the debate last night? I was really hoping that it would just be better, and I'm just generally concerned about all leadership in America.
Was it better? I didn't watch. Was it better?
I had no idea there was a debate last night.
We need to move on. Okay, we got to stay on topic here.
How about Dan Aykroyd as future Dan?
Ooh, I like that. I like
Great
that.
call.
I like
Future
that.
Don, though.
Yes.
Future Don, my bad.
Don't want to be sued.
You got to be again. Amin is a real stickler about these legal rights. It's got to be the Don Le Batard story. I think you guys aren't understanding. It can't. I have not allowed the rights to my movie, even though we're still picking the actor and asking my
Cut his
opinion
mic.
and then ignoring my opinion.
He's very litigious.
Looking forward to this one. I've been enjoying watching and listening to this man talk for more than 30 years. He's a Hall of Famer of American politics. He helped run Bill Clinton's campaign in 1992. CNN Films has a new documentary about him called Carville, Winning is Everything Stupid. It debuts Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on CNN. It's getting a lot of buzz at film festivals because he's been a character for 32 years in the face of American politics and in public. James Carville with us. Nice to see you, James. Always nice to see you.
Well, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I've always enjoyed your show through the years, and we're very excited about the new film.
The Raging Cajun. This is exciting.
That is correct.
Yes.
Before we get to what happened last night, James, can you just tell me why it is that America doesn't have better leadership?
Well, I think we have at least we have a choice this time, and I'm enthusiastic about the vice president. But one of the things that I tried to address in the movie is we need to get really good people in politics and not running for office, working in campaigns, covering campaigns, reporting on campaigns. We need to tell people that this is an important and business, and it's a good business, and hopefully the film makes that point.
Before we get to talking about the film, which I imagine will examine your marriage heavily, because it's one of the most unusual you will find, not just in politics, outside of politics, because you guys are aligned spiritually, but not at all politically. What did you make of last night?
I thought it was fine. Vance is a lot more articulate than Trump, but anybody's more articulate than Trump. And Walsh came across like a master sergeant and a football coach. Kind of steady guy, plowing ahead, soldier on, and. They both had their moments, and I looked, to the extent that it matters, I looked at the post-debate polls, and some were 44-42, some were 50-48. But if you liked one of them going in, you came out liking them, and if you didn't like one going in, you probably came out not liking them. But that's about what I think happened last night.
Any criticism anyway? Because if I were Walls, I would have been mentioning that the person on the other side of the stage had compared his presidential to Hitler. I would have mentioned that at some point.
I think Walsh may came out a little slow, but that's not his forte. He had a little, but once he got his jersey dirty, he was fine. I think Harris probably came out a little slow, even in her debate against Trump, which she clearly won. But early debate jitters is almost a fact of life, and particularly somebody like Walsh who doesn't have a lot of experience doing that. But he came around, and I could say he was hitting it pretty hard once he got his jersey dirty.
A guy who hasn't come out slow, Jaden Daniels, huh?
Oh man, I tell you, if y'all ever seen two rookies so far from the same university, Jaden Daniels and Paul Skeens, just knocking it like crazy?
No.
I mean, that's I really hope Jaden stays healthy the whole year, because that's going to be the greatest rookie baseball football combo maybe in the history of professional sports if Jaden stays on track.
And we're forgetting Brian Thomas Jr.
Skeens has done it. It's historic.
I can't believe, I shouldn't be surprised by this at all, I suppose. James didn't want to talk about politics at all. He was bored. And then all of a sudden you talk.
Jaden Daniels.
He was totally bored with what it is that we were doing. And then you asked him a sports question, and look at him. He lit up. He's radiant.
I mean, this man is the biggest LSU football fan in America. How do you get that title? I mean,
I don't know. I'm very passionate about him. I went there. I don't know, 25 of my siblings, nephews, nieces, parents, aunts, uncles. I mean, it's just a long tradition of Carville's going to LSU, and we love it, and it's affordable.
What do we make of Brian Kelly? Is he on the hot seat yet, James? I feel like we're getting close, don't you?
Why?
Well, because
we're not even 500, and he comes, and we go 10-3 for 2 years.
Yeah.
We got the number one recruiting or number two recruiting class for 2025. Mm-hmm. What is this? Let me address this. I hear this crap all the time. He comes and LSU stole Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. It was just about money. Well, Brian Kelly was 12-0 at Cincinnati. Notre Dame stole him from Cincinnati. But why is it okay to steal a coach from Cincinnati but not steal a coach from Notre Dame? Yeah. And why in the hell would Brian Kelly be on any hot seat right now?
Well, I just feel like we're starting to settle, Jimmy. You know, like we're here, we expect these big things, and all of a sudden it's just like, second best.
Coach O wins championships.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You know what our record was in 2020 and 2021?
What was it?
All right, come on, man. It was under 500. Y'all the national media has the most selective memory of any people I've ever dealt. What is it? It's not just true in politics, it's true in sports.
Yeah, Billy.
Yeah, but then Coach O came in and Joe Burrow, and they changed the expectations for LSU, didn't they? And now we're just back to settling.
It was the greatest college football team in history. We were 20-6 the last 2 years. We were under 500 the 2 years before that. I mean, come on, man. We're not really having this. And by the way, next year, and after this year, for the next 3 years, we're golden. I mean, the guy's been there 2 years, and because he left Notre Dame, the media hates him because we just love Notre Dame. You know, how could LSU be so mean as to take the Notre Dame coach away? What are we going to cover on Saturday? We don't have the Golden Dome and Touchdown Jesus, you know. We got to go there with a bunch of Cajuns, you know, eating weird food in the parking lot of the game.
I think that maybe perhaps some people heard Brian Kelly's attempt at a wonderful accent such as yours and thought that he was perhaps a little phony. Care to comment on that?
All right. Yeah, I'll comment on it. Imitation is flattery. Yeah. So, all right, the guy comes down. If I tried to speak in a Boston Irish brogue, I couldn't do it very well myself. But, you know, if you try.
Can you try?
Try it, please.
Bastard. What I can get out. But why would someone be offended because you tried to appropriate our culture?
Well,
that's great. Joe Burrow was not from Louisiana. They called him Burrow, E-A-U-X. But I just think everybody in the national media just can't believe he left Notre Dame. We love Notre Dame so much. The whiny crap.
He's right, though.
You are really you're really hung up on this. Let's play for James at the risk of upsetting him. Let's play for James how bad this Brian Kelly accent was.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly, to be with you great fans.
They're liking you. You want to go a few minutes?
Oh, we got the approval from the publicist. The publicist was going to cut us off.
That's because we're talking sports.
That is absolutely right. James, what else are you fired up about in sports? What pisses you off? What else are you mad about?
Well, I'm not too mad. I mean, I think the conference realignment, I think the SEC. I mean, I look how many must-see games we got. I'm excited about Texas and Oklahoma being in the conference. You know, I was a little. I hope our baseball team comes back. You know, we won women's basketball, baseball, gymnastics, all in a period of all in a 2-year period. And hopefully our basketball team were better last year than anybody thought. Almost like 500 in the conference. So hopefully make some progress there. But I'm really excited about the future of LSU football too. We got a really good crop of kids coming up. But it's a tough world out there. We play in a very tough neighborhood.
Kim Mulkey turned the women around, huh, Jim?
She sure did.
Yeah.
She sure did.
Yeah.
You know, national championship, and I think it was Elite 8 last year. And from everything I read, they're going to be pretty good now. And you know, these games are sellouts. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing I've seen in my life in sports is the explosion in women's sports. And I'll tell you the truth, the women's basketball college game is they let them play harder than the men do. They play a fast brand of basketball, I think. You know, in terms of the Saints, it was bad Sunday. Don't get me started on that. If we take a timeout with 1 minute to go,
Right. You got
and
yourself
with
started.
3rd and 2. I mean, what are y'all thinking? Not very much. But but I tell you, you got again with Jaden Daniels and Paul Skeens, you can't get any more exciting than that.
So have you been watching Pirate games just because Skeens throws 100 miles an hour and strikes everybody out?
When he's on, I can't tell you that I'm, dying to see the August game between the Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. But if Skeens is pitching, I do. It's pretty interesting to see. Really is.
How do you manage this though as an LSU fan? Kim Mulkey seems awful.
Kim Mulkey, what?
Seems like an awful person.
She seems awful. Like she seems.
She's not awful.
She seems like it.
Right. She's competitive. Mm-hmm. And this guy in the L.A. Times writes a story about how pristine and precious the UCLA basketball team is, and how the LSU team is a bunch of Bayou rogues or something. We're used to that kind of stuff. All right. But, we're used to, we're UCLA and Notre Dame. Come on. How can you be any better than that? How dare some place on the Mississippi River dare challenge their sports supremacy? I mean, my God. Sometimes people in the national sports media don't have any idea of how ridiculous they sound to people in the rest of America. Mm-hmm. And we saw that in that article, in that lead-up article to the UCLA LSU.
Well,
game.
that article.
Kim Mulkey likes to win. Guess what? She will try to beat your ass every time.
That is correct. Yeah. That article was super racist. But Kim Mulkey's politics, you tolerate other people's politics in a way that makes you married to Mary Madeline, whose politics are diametrically opposed to yours for 30 years.
Well, I don't know if I agree. I'm not sure what Bill Belichick's politics is, but if I was going to bet on the game, I thought he was going to win. I'd bet on it. Another thing is they're athletic people. They're sports people. Who knows? Kim's from Tickfaw, Louisiana. Would you like for me to take you to Tickfaw one day? Explain a lot. But she didn't grow up in the top carnival crew in New Orleans, or she didn't grow up in the, sophisticated Union League or something. But she's a tough competitor, and that's what you want in a coach. Hell she does in politics. I don't care. I don't think some of her political views have been exaggerated over the years anyway. That's not important. That's not very important to me, right? But just
elitism bothers you, right? Like you seem to be getting bothered by elitism.
I'm not bothered by elitism itself. I think, Milos Forman, who directed The People versus Larry Flint, he said, James Rice was the elites. They cure the diseases. They write the books. All right. I don't have, but what I do have is when people just take a reflexive view that everything about UCLA and Notre Dame is good and everything about LSU is bad. That's where I get reflexive about things. All right, but I look, if somebody went to Northwestern journalism school and is covering sports, I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, so it's just Notre Dame. It's just Notre Dame.
Well, it's not just Notre Dame. it's
UCLA as well.
UCLA as well.
It's mostly Notre Dame, though. What seems to be bothering you the most is just generally Notre Dame.
Well, generally all the whining and carping about Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame and, Grantland Rice and the Four Horsemen. And,
you can have Brian Kelly.
Shit, the Notre Dame box and Johnny Lujack,
Johnny Lujack.
But James, to their credit, a big win over Louisville this past week to get back into playoff contention.
I had them, and it was they covered actually. I even bet on Notre Dame. I was getting smoked this year, but I had a good comeback with the Ravens Sunday.
You get the feeling, though, and I don't know if it's just me and maybe the whole there does seem to be nationally this Notre Dame bias where if there is a bubble team and it comes down to like an LSU or a Notre Dame for the last spot in the playoff, it's going to be Notre Dame, right?
Maybe. I mean, it's a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
I actually think it's like the selection committee for the men's basketball tournament. I think they really try to get it right. I really do. A lot of times in sports they're just kind of close calls, and but I think for the most part I'll give them credit. They're pretty conscientious about it. By the way, Georgia's nowhere near gone just because they barely lost to Alabama on the road. They're still going to be around and still going to be pretty good. It was impressive the way they came back.
James, we've been joking around today about having an unauthorized biography of Dan Le Batard, a movie coming out, and trying to cast for it. You were actually played by Billy Bob Thornton in an unauthorized biography of Bill Clinton called Primary Colors. How did you feel about his performance?
I talked to him before, and it's hard to be somebody else. But I was pretty honored that Billy Bob would be the person they choose to play me. That famous line from the book Primary Colors described me as he looked as though he was fired out of a love scene from the film Deliverance. So,
oh no, that is not. Look at how that is terribly insulting, and yet
He
you
loves
find
it,
it
yes.
funny.
I find it funny.
So a rape in the woods is basically what it is. That's what.
That's what I look like.
And you're laughing.
Yes.
Yeah, of course I'm laughing. But it's pretty funny. You got to admit it.
Is there anything that what are the things you care about more than LSU football, James?
My daughters.
Good answer.
So that's
I just think, that you follow a team like that, you know what it means to everybody in the state. You're not just pulling for the football team, you're kind of pulling for the whole state. And, my sister sits in exactly the same seat I sat in for Billy Cannon's Halloween run back in 1959. So that goes pretty deep, doesn't it?
It does. Jessica has been waxing poetic about tailgating and the LSU night crowd, Stugotz. It's a really special thing.
Great crowd.
So
Yep.
tell us, James, explain to us, as somebody who's been good with words his entire life, the sense of community involved in having the same seat at that football stadium for 60 years.
So the one thing that LSU does, okay, we don't have an Auburn. We don't have an Iowa State. We don't have a Purdue, okay? In terms of big-time sports, there's only LSU. So you don't really have a divided state, if you will. And, of course, the lore of the Cannon run back, and we had those seats in 1959. I know we had them in 58, too. The whole thing just comes part, and it's a whole state that enjoys it, and it's really fun to be part of it. And I just hope we never lose, but I suspect that's not a realistic hope.
It's a rare place where everyone's connected to, right? Like you find all these places in America that are divided. That's an easy place to remain connected.
And then the night games, because we're at the end of the summer. So if you live in Boston, you love baseball season in the start of spring because you're sick of the wintertime. Well, we love football season because we're sick of the summertime. And the night games, you get out there and they get pretty juiced up before they get in the stadium. I'll tell you that, man. Oh, they can drink down there. Shit.
That's the truth. That's why the night games are so great. That's the reason. They're drinking all day.
My daddy used to say half the people in Tiger Stadium can't spell LSU.
Just half, huh?
The name of the movie is Carvel, Winning is Everything Stupid. It debuts Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on CNN. What did you like about it?
I like that the director actually worked in politics and covered politics, so he understood a little bit what we're about. And what I hope people see it and to say, I wouldn't mind doing something like that and get involved, because those guys look like they were having a good time. I mean, so much of everything in our culture is demeaning to politics, demeaning to political consultants, demeaning to everything. And what I'm scared is this is how you end up with somebody like Donald Trump. It said, well, the whole goddamn thing is corrupt. You got nothing to lose. Just do that. And I think that's a dangerous philosophy. So I hope people see this and say, well, that guy earned a noble living. That would be my fondest hope of it.
You have been married, as I mentioned, for 30 years to one of the most prominent Republican consultants in America, Mary Madeline. What is the secret? What is the secret to keeping love alive when you're politically opposed?
It's a lot of probing, and we would do things and we wouldn't get along. We'd fight and we'd find this. If we talked about this, it was better. It comes with I mean, she's truly a fascinating, great woman. She's a beekeeper. She's a world-class editor. She gardens. She's got great taste. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful mother to my 2 daughters. I mean, of all of the things, if you think about that you could have go wrong in a marriage, I think a political difference would not be as high as you might think.
How does it go over with her the way the Republican Party stands on women's rights?
I never speak for her. That is where I just, people ask me her opinion on something, and the 1 or 2 times that I've offered it, I got my head bitten off. So I'd have to say you'd have to ask her, because
that's
how you keep it going.
That's the secret, James.
You learn your lesson.
James, you just answered the question. You answered the question after you didn't answer the question quite as well, because you just answered how it is you stay married for 30 years right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm surprised that you had a second time where you got your head bitten off. I'm surprised you didn't learn it the first time. You're a smart man.
Sometimes it takes, somebody said this, and I really believe it. The best education in the world is the second kick of a mule.
James, thank you. It has been a pleasure to do this with
guys.
you. If you have any other sports opinions you want to get out there before you go on your tour talking politics and getting bored talking politics, we'll give you one last chance to give a strong sports opinion on your way out.
Or gambling picks.
All right. I have no idea what's going to happen in the baseball playoffs, and neither does anybody else. The most unpredictable playoff of any professional sport there is. Sports predictions.
Let's do this, James. Give us, for DraftKings, our sugar daddy, give us James Carville's sure thing DraftKings football game of the week this week. A football game you have your eye on the way that you had your eye on the Ravens last weekend.
I gotta talk to my guy.
You have a guy?
I got a guy.
Okay.
Wow. ACL. Okay, but I've been so busy with the movie, and I know LSU's off this week, so I got a little space in my sports looking up stuff. But I think we played the Saints and the Chiefs play, and the Saints had a terrible, terrible loss to Atlanta. I think they're a little better than people give them credit for. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs; they're great, but they've had some tough games. I got to look at the point spread, but there's a rare weekend where I'm going to really take a good hard look at the New Orleans Saints.
All right, there it is. That is close to taking the Saints. James, good seeing you again. Carville winning is everything stupid is Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern on CNN. Pleasure to have you on, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure. A lot of fun being on here. You're a bunch of fun guys. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. Jessica, I mentioned during that that you seem to be, among us, the biggest tailgate aficionado that we have here. I don't think we have a bigger one in our business.
Well, it would require people going to the games. Yeah. Sorry, that was a Miami dig. I had to get it out. I haven't done one in a while. Yes, Stan, that's correct. I love tailgating.
But did you do some recently that made you come back here just generally excited and not worn down by tailgating?
I was thinking a lot this weekend about how the recipe for making me specifically happy is very easy. Just give me an open trunk with a folding table and an array of chips and dips. Yep. That's all I need. Just some chips, maybe 2 or 3 different types of chips, a cracker, a tortilla chip, and a potato chip, preferably kettle cooked.
Chairs are overrated. She's so right. Just
the whole thing.
Open up that back thing.
Open up the trunk.
Yep.
And then several dips. I'd like a salsa, perhaps a queso. If it's hot out, I don't want the queso because it will rot in the sun. But maybe like a spinach and artichoke dip and perhaps like some sort of onion dip.
How do you feel about because they're very communal, these things. So like you're tailgating, there's cars all around. How do we feel about the guy you don't know walking over with a tray of food to like, hey, I got these corn dogs. And
Dangerous game,
If I
man.
don't know you,
right.
it's like it's one of those things where I always just I'm a polite pass. Like, no, I just ate. I'll lie. I'll just
You're
be
a family out there when you're tailgating. You eat anything off of anyone's plate.
No.
Chris, to your point, I think it depends what it is. Like something like a vegetable, probably not going to have as much salmonella on it if it's cooked. Then perhaps an undercooked piece of poultry from someone that you don't know. However,
just a
if
no
it's
for me.
alcoholic, you have
Oh,
to
a Jell-O
accept.
shot I'm taking.
You must accept.
If it's a Jell-O shot, I don't care where it was made.
Never tailgated before in my life.
Really?
What?
Not even once.
I would like to formally invite you to a tailgate next
Where?
year.
That's so nice.
At Notre Dame.
Wow.
You
It's
can
gonna be
come with
cold?
me and Priya. No, it was actually really nice this weekend.
If Priya's there, I'll be there.
Nice.
Why have you never been
say
to
well,
a
Jazz.
tailgate?
I'm not offended.
Like when am I supposed to tailgate?
At a football game.
Anytime you would go to a
Right.
football
Georgia
game.
Tech.
I get there at 1 o'clock when it's kickoff. That's when I get
You
there.
prefer a skybox to a tailgate. You prefer concessions to tailgate.
I can't say I prefer it because I've never done a tailgate. I just prefer not to spend my whole day in a parking lot.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Better food, concessions, or the tailgate, or how do I say it? Better experience? Because everyone's going to take tailgate if I make it experience instead of concessions. But I think what he's saying, show up at the stadium, antiseptic, skybox, do concessions. I think it has less color than what we're talking
What
about.
Amin is saying is he just wants to get right to the game. He doesn't need to sit around in a parking lot sweating his ass off for 15 hours before the game to prove that he's a bigger fan than everyone
but it's
else.
a spiritual journey. You're there for the party as much as you're there for the experience as much as you are for the game.
But sometimes you overdo it, Dan. You don't make it to the game. I mean,
Yeah, and you have a great time. So I'm there for the parking lot. The game to me is, I could watch that on TV and be just as happy, especially when you're sitting at a game and there's maybe some people in your row, some people in your section that don't watch a lot of college football. They don't know the rules. They don't know what basic concepts are in college football. And they yell things like, oh, here they go again with that stupid run-pass option thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, oh, here they go again with another home run.
RPO.
The thing that they do at tailgates that I'm over, that I've outgrown, I just can't do it anymore. Like I said, you give me a Jell-O shot, I don't care who made it, I'm taking it. I'm not shotgunning beers anymore. I was at the week 1 Dolphins.
You're nearly 40. Why would you?
Well,
anymore.
Yeah, go to a Dolphins tailgate.
I'm just saying, like, I know, Billy, you
What
live a
happened?
different life than some people. It's still a thing that happens at tailgates. Everyone's always like, shotgun o'clock, and I'm like, I'm just good, guys, because I'm going to be the guy with the half beer. I'm just dropping it. I'm done. I'm not doing that
Half
whole thing.
beer. Come on, buddy.
I would say that we have officially arrived at the point where watching the game at home, the game itself, is more fun. It's a better experience and gives you more options watching other games than going to the stadium itself, even with the energy of community feeling. If you're someone who absorbs energies and really likes 80,000 people roaring with you, I still think the experience at home watching a game during the game is better. But what would make the experience at the stadium better is the tailgate. It's only the tailgate. Like, I don't think I can say anything else on behalf of the stadium experience. You have to go, you got to get parking, you got to go in traffic. Here, it's hot as hell. I would prefer to be at home, except for the tailgate and enjoying the party and the barbecue with your friends. Somebody who does it well.
When's the last time you went to a tailgate?
I'm going to say, I don't know, 2 years ago.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
For what game?
A University of Miami game. I just
Wow.
went and met some college friends.
Huh.
That's so cute.
That is cute.
What'd you guys eat? Like, do burgers, brats?
He couldn't eat anything.
Dan's like, where's the gluten-free table? And it's like, Dan, that's
The
not how this
tailgate we
works.
go to, they have like this sort of like pulled pork thing that they make. It's pretty good. A lot of them do like the trays of Chick-fil-A now. So that's a dangerous game because
That's mailing
put-
it in. I'm
you
sorry.
put 200
I mean,
nuggets in front of me.
yeah.
There's no limit to how
So let me
many I
get
might
this
eat.
straight. You want me to show up at like 9 in the morning for a 1 o'clock game?
Like 10:30.
To have
No,
some
no.
chicken
Notre Dame,
tendies.
3:30
Yeah.
Eastern every week
Yeah.
on NBC.
I don't care. You want me to
Can't
show
get-
up at
Not a Big Ten team.
9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
to eat chicken tendies
Yeah.
and drink beer?
Yeah.
Yes.
I could do that at home. I don't need to.
Jello
But
shot.
you see your friends that you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, but he's got air
family.
conditioning. That's my best
There's
friend.
really
And then
loud
you go
music.
into the stadium and everyone's the energy's so exciting, and then Notre Dame fumbles on the opening kickoff, and then the other team scores, and you're like, oh no, what do we do all this for? But then they win the game, and so you're happy again, and it's great.
Everyone fighting for a 7x7 thing of shade.
Yeah.
That's under the thing. It's like, no, I'm standing here. This is my shade spot. Get out of here.
I mean, I know that you were cynical about thinking that I would enjoy a tailgate, but you would imagine, would you not, that if I were at a Miami tailgate, it might be fun for the number of people who would be offering for me to be a part of whatever it is they were experiencing at a Miami tailgate?
Did you just say it would be fun for everyone else? If
No,
I
for
showed
me.
up?
For
Oh, okay.
me, that it would be fun that people would be offering me their food and
I
stuff.
experienced it the same way, I have
Right?
to be honest, yes.
Like, yes.
What a thrill for you if I showed up.
That is how I meant it. Yes, of course. Do you imagine how much better I make a tailgate by just sauntering through, grabbing people's chips? Hey, was that Dan Le Batard who just stole my chips?
Full of Tostitos, man.
He just do a shot off the ice luge.
Here's the other thing. I mean, you don't, as a man, even have to deal with the worst aspects of tailgating, which is the porta potty situation, because you could just close your eyes and aim. Which is also, ironically, what I do, too. It's just harder because I'm facing the other direction.
I keep my eyes open.
There's also, like, if I wear a bodysuit or a romper, like, then you're just ass naked in a porta potty. You have to choose your outfits wisely.
What do you guys make of these new like tents that people are buying, like their own porta potties? It's like the P tent, and then there's like a little. They take a toilet. Yeah, they sell now.
I think Mike
tents.
has one of
Mike
those.
had one, and he brought it to a Panthers tailgate, and no one went in it.
Hold on. Explain this to me.
It's like a little like camping
Like a
tent
personal
that
tent.
is designed for one person, and you store it. You put it over like a either bucket or outdoor porta potty that you take yourself. Yeah.
Una cazuela.
That's what it is, Dan. It's una cazuela. It's a thing on the floor in the tent. You almost have to like kind of like crouch down because the tent isn't like tall. It's
The hover technique.
And it's
the
like
hover, you gotta like kind of sit there.
It's like the thinnest material either. Like when you go in there, you just feel seen.
Did
I
Mike-
feel like everyone can see me.
Did Mike use it?
I don't think anyone used it.
But, like, Mike has to empty it out afterwards, right?
He made a big deal about bringing it, guys. It'll be there, and then everyone.
I mean,
was
it's
kinda
just
like,
it's in the neighborhood. It's like in the family, the uncle of the bedpan. Like, it's a pretty unpleasant thing to be wandering around with a urine bucket.
Well, they sell now, and I know this because we talked about this once before, so I looked up to see logistically how it works. They sell like gel that you would put in like the bucket or in whatever that absorb. I assume it's like what's inside a diaper, basically, right? Is like it's like a gel and then
An
you pee on
absorbent
it.
of some sort?
Yeah, and it absorbs it. So then you just go and I guess like dump it out, and it's like a solid
There's
absorbed.
like a piss log.
Yeah, kind of.
Imagine being the owner of that company. Like, yep, that's mine. I made that.
I
They
invented
probably
the piss
banking,
log.
honestly.
Crushing it.
Does the cazuela look like a toilet? Because on my screen right now is a tent that clearly has a tiny toilet.
This
in
is
it.
what Mike's looked like.
Is that porcelain?
I've got to admit that this is much better than a porta potty. I would not.
Well,
I know.
except you own this, so someone's got to deal with it at the end.
You got to pack it up.
I don't think there's a
Yeah.
bottom though. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a bottom, so I don't think that gets like drippage.
Yeah, and like then your friend is cleaning up your piss log later. I'd rather close my eyes, plug my nose, squat, and just pray in the porta potty.
You got to sit on that thing no matter what though, because like if you're drinking, you're peeing all over the wall of that porta potty, obviously, right?
Pretty
Why?
low.
Wait, why?
It's pretty low, right?
You got to sit. You can't stand and try to aim into
Not
that.
sitting on that thing.
If you've been drinking all afternoon, you're spraying everything.
You say you're not sitting on that thing, but the thing that's appalling to me, one of the things that's appalling to me about the porta potty is you've got thousands of people using that before you get there.
I'm not sitting on that thing either.
That is foul. Well, you
hover.
don't know what kind of emergency it is. What kind of emergency? Again, with the hover technique.
You got to
from
go. You got to
Stugotz.
go, Dano.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Chris is
I'm
the
with
one.
you.
Chris
Yeah.
is the one saying that he's not going. He's not
I
sitting on that
guarantee
thing.
you Chris has gone in a porta potty
I've
before.
gone pee. I've never sat. I've never pooped in a porta potty.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Whoa.
What?
Straw poll. You guys have taken a dump
No.
I have.
in a porta potty?
What?
Yep.
They're just projecting that onto me. Is what they're
No,
doing.
I am not. I would not. I'm not surprised that Stugotz would. And again, he goes to his wheelhouse of the hover technique. He's been talking about it for years. It is disgusting.
Diabolical.
I want to get back
What do
to
you want
what
me
it
to
is
do?
Amin was
Hold
saying.
it.
Yes, be an adult. Be an adult and control your
At
bowels.
least wait till
would
you
be
go
the
into the
answer.
stadium at the bare minimum.
Amin, I do want to get back to what it is that you were saying, though, which is it really is unpleasant to think about driving home because they're not hoses when you're tailgating. You're driving home with your friend's piss in the absorbent in the trunk of your car.
Or worse.
If I make the move and I'm getting one of these things, I'm just getting a new bucket every time.
No, you
Like
dump
the bucket is staying.
You dump the absorbent into like a garbage can.
But I don't want that.
Or a bag.
I don't want the bucket though that had the bag. Like
You want a fresh one every game.
People
I'm
have
with
to
Chris.
clean that up still. Like that's so gross. These people are walking around like picking up like cans and then there's like a piss log in the fucking garbage can.
Pog.
Sorry, I just
To be fair, any one of you people who have dogs, you ain't got shit to say. Because you do this shit on a daily basis, picking up literal shit with your hands. I
what
know.
about-
I put a plastic bag around it. No. You're still
What are you picking up?
You're still scooping doo-doo
No,
in your hands.
having young kids is way worse than a dog. Wiping a kid's ass,
I got to be honest. I mean,
way worse than
I
just
stopped.
picking up a poop off the ground.
I've been desensitized to all of it. Like once you have a kid, it's over. Like I don't care if anything gets on my hands anymore.
I have not been so desensitized that what I'm going to say right now isn't something that you guys are going to receive the same way as me, even though I am with Amin. He makes a good point when he says, well, you pick up dog poop all the time. And yes, I do. And if you don't understand, Amin, why it is that I prefer to pick up dog poop than your poop, than your friend's poop, if you don't understand why those two things are different, like that it's an enormous difference between picking up the poop of an animal and
Right.
picking up the poop of Amin.
of Stugotz.
That's correct. That is correct. I've been doing that in some ways for 20 years, but can you imagine me leaning over into a porta potty that he's hovered over, or one of these toilet tents that you guys
the
are
hover
talking
technique.
about, and scooping out Stugotz's poop? It's deeply unpleasant, but am I romanticizing the tailgate here? Because I do think it's different than anything else about the game experience on Saturday and Sunday. And I would say that most people listening to this who believe specifically in college atmospheres, they would tell you, yeah, the college tailgate is great. You cannot do anything. DirecTV can't reproduce that. AI can't produce that. And especially the college tailgate before, like what James Carville was talking about, the 8 p.m. game in LSU where everyone's getting fired up for 11 straight hours on drinks.
oh man, those late games are a dangerous game, Dano.
What's the record for blacking out in one day?
Me twice.
Yeah.
What?
Texas Notre Dame 2015.
Really?
Twice?
You bounce back?
Started early morning.
I'm just kidding, folks. That didn't happen.
Little 11 a.m. blackout. Take a little nap. Wake up. Do it again.
Double blackouts?
Damn.
Bill.
You cannot.
Drink responsibly is
Concussion
my advice.
protocol there.
You cannot put it on the poll, please, Juju. Have you ever had so many drinks that you pass out and then you get up and you keep drinking and you pass out again? As we onboard David Sampson here, I urge you to listen to Nothing Personal, his daily podcast. He is live on YouTube at 8 a.m. every morning. Before we onboard him, Stugotz, tell the people what it is that you and Billy are doing in Chicago this weekend with Matt Forte. Is this a Bears watch party that you guys are doing?
It's a Bears watch party, but also, we're going to honor Andy Dalton as well because the Red Rifle's in town. So we'll be watching the game with everyone at the bar. I think, I'm not certain, and perhaps I shouldn't say this unless I'm certain, Sarah Spain will be joining us out there. Matt Forte is going to be joining us as well.
What bar? I think you should tell people what bar so they could get to that bar. Do you know what bar we're talking about?
It's at Joe's on Weed, if you want to go there. Yeah, check it out. We're going to be starting at noon Central Time, 1 Eastern. It's also going to be streaming live on our Le Batard and Friends YouTube channel. So if you're not in Chicago, you can watch us online on YouTube. We're going to be watching the games and talking to some friends, and Sarah Spain, too, and Matt Forte will be there, and Tony's going to be there. It's going to be a good time had by all, and we'll take pictures with you and shake your hands and kiss your babies and all that good stuff. Play a couple games if you want.
Exactly. Yep, that is this Sunday, Dan. It's on Weed Street. I'll be there early on Weed. I will be watching the Jets-Vikings Sam Darnold revenge game. How about that? So I will be there earlier. And, Billy, I love that football starts an hour earlier in Chicago. It's fantastic. I mean,
and 3 hours earlier this week because they're in England. So 4 hours earlier for you.
Thank you, Smirnoff.
David, why are you smiling and why are you laughing about what it is that they're talking about here?
I'm sorry to be distracted. I was checking the Northwestern women's lacrosse schedule. Sorry.
Yep.
My bad.
No game, right?
No game.
Are you trying to expense things in order to be at a Bears watch party in order to be near your daughter? Is that what's happening here?
I'm going to be near my daughter regardless. You're sending me to Chicago to cover a Bears-Carolina Panthers
I'm
game.
not doing anything. I'm learning of this from others. I didn't do a thing. I didn't raise a finger about this.
No, we didn't. I don't schedule my lacrosse games around Smirnoff appearances. I do Smirnoff appearances because I love doing Smirnoff appearances. That's how I roll. I mean, I love Smirnoff, especially at 9:30 in the morning on Weed Street.
How does David Sampson feel about a tailgate? I would imagine that your germ-phobicness would make it so that a tailgate is not something that you're in any way interested in.
So I was listening and thinking about it. I took my son to 2 Dolphin tailgates during the course of his childhood in Florida, and they were just great anxiety for me because of the restroom situation. And I pretended to have fun because I thought that's what you're supposed to do as a father. Total obligation, and I had a miserable time. I just always had the entrance to the ballpark or to the stadium ready in case I needed the restroom. And I don't like having a catch when there's people around because if the ball falls, you have to go near them and get into their tailgate. I did not enjoy any part of the experience, and the food sucked.
How old was your son?
He's now 21.
No.
This was, between the ages of 8 and 12. I probably did it twice, once a year, trying to be a good dad.
Hold on. This doesn't sound like a very family-friendly environment. David, to be clear, I've never been to a tailgate. They've tried to describe it to me, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like the place I would bring a child.
Yeah, no, there's definitely kids at tailgates. I'm not sure yet for sure. I mean, there's alcohol. The theory is that the parents are supposed to drink, which I don't understand because of drinking and driving. But so I don't drink at a tailgate. I think that's ridiculous. And then you have your kids where you're supposed to barbecue or something. But I would go to Publix and just get subs.
I grew up at tailgates. I was raised by tailgaters. The community of tailgaters raised me, David. Yeah. You've got it all wrong. But I do want to ask you something because you mentioned the bathroom situation. We were talking about Mike Ryan's little toilet tent thing that he has at tailgates. Would you ever, I guess maybe I should phrase it this way. How much would we have to pay you to take a piss inside of this tent toilet thing?
Well, when I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, that's exactly how you go to the bathroom. And it's a 7-day trip that I was on, and I held it for the first 4 days and got so sick.
Thank you.
No, look at me. Louis would be saying that I ran a marathon from the summit of Kilimanjaro.
You didn't go to the bathroom for 4 days?
Just say when you climbed the mountain. I mean,
So I got really sick because I did not use the bathroom for 4 days because they carry those exact tent toilets and I would not use it. And so what happened was there was a doctor in the climbing crew, and I had some issues in my intestines and in my stomach because of altitude and not a willingness to go to the bathroom. And they fed me something that forced it. And I can only tell you that it was my worst nightmare.
What was it that they fed you to force things out?
So there's a bunch of medicine they carry when you're climbing Kilimanjaro, and let me tell you, they've got it down pat. That works.
Did
you
you
take the pill, and you basically have to take it when you're in the bathroom?
Up your butt or in your mouth?
No, this was oral. I would not do. I was 2 days. It's funny you mentioned that, but now we're getting way too personal. If you go 6 days into Kilimanjaro and you refuse, they will go up the southern border.
David, when you go to, because, you have described yourself as a germaphobe and someone who, gets stressed out about things. When you go to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and I mean this seriously, are you prepared to die? Like when you go up there, go up there, because a lot of people die on these mountain excursions. Do you go kind of at peace with, if this is the last thing I do, I'm fine with it?
I actually don't, but I have that feeling every time I do anything, like get on 95 or fly or do anything. I just say, hey, I'll tip my cap because it's been a hell of a run. But I don't specifically go up, do one of these athletic things and say, hey, the chances are I'll die. No, I do not think that way at all.
So you climb Mount Kilimanjaro, but you can't take a shit.
Yeah. Or drive on the expressway.
No, I was talking about odds of dying.
Or
No,
have a
I have
cache
very
tailgate.
major issues when it comes to with bowels and going to the bathroom. I have had to use a porta potty in the past, and it's scarring, and it's just not something you want to do. But when you're running, you sometimes have no choice if you don't want to get arrested. So I get why you'd have to do it, but I wouldn't choose to do it. That's why I wouldn't choose to be at a tailgate, for example, if I didn't have tickets to a game.
Did you answer Jessica's question about how much it would take how much you would, we'd have to give you money in order to get you to toilet tent?
Oh, $5 grand, $1 grand, an extra Benjamin.
Really? I don't think you would do it for.
You're going to give me a free $100. All I have to do is go into a toilet tent.
I don't think
close
you do
my
it.
eyes, sanitize, and I'd have an extra $100.
I don't think you do it.
Okay, well then, all right. Well, you negotiated against yourself way down from 5,000 to 100.
You could have had whatever number you wanted.
I don't know. I don't understand what you just did.
But
there.
someone on Kilimanjaro just said, like, David, just $100, please, and prevent yourself renal failure. You would have taken it.
Kilimanjaro, you're not really thinking much. The altitude is so high and you're so tired that you're not thinking much. I'm thinking more at sea level. What would you do? As a matter of fact, the Terry Virts, the astronaut who was on Pablo Torre Finds Out, and he's a friend of all of ours, he was up in the space station, and one of the main questions I asked him, you can imagine the two subjects I asked about were sex and bowels, and the answer was pretty funny. What happens in space with that whole thing. That is reason enough for me not to be an astronaut.
You're going to keep it to yourself, the funny answer?
Oh, man, it all floats.
What?
You have to be strapped down in every way. Every part of you has to be strapped down when you're doing anything you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Major League playoffs have begun. David, the Padres are this year what I thought they were going to be last year when they had Blake Snell being Cy Young winner. And Fernando Tatis comes back and immediately is Fernando Tatis. So you make what of the first the first week, really, of what has felt like playoff baseball?
Well, there's been one game.
I know, but you had what the Mets and the Braves were doing with the doubleheader. It has felt like there have been, it felt like the playoffs had already started.
So that Monday doubleheader was fixed to split, of course, because the Mets, no matter what the Braves to be in, were going to play the Padres, but the Mets had the opportunity to eliminate the Braves, but then they'd have to go to San Diego. And why would they want to when they could go to the great city of Milwaukee? But no, the playoffs started yesterday, and I did something on Nothing Personal this morning that I don't do often, and that's compliment A.J. Preller, the GM of the Padres, the way he got the bullpen in line with the former Marlins and the way he has built his lineup, his rotation as well. I mean, let's face it, they're a deep, good team. And if you're Major League Baseball, you're thinking, If they can get by the Braves, which they will, then you've got them playing the Dodgers. So either way, we either get the Padres, or that means Tatis or Ohtani. They'd rather have him. But one of the two are going to be in the NLCS. You're feeling really good about yourself. And if the Mets can win, which I think they will, then it's either the Mets or Phillies. So right now you are positioned for a phenomenal National League side of MLB playoffs. And that's good for the sport, especially with ESPN about to opt out of their media rights deal.
Is the Padres bullpen the best in baseball?
Don't sleep on the Tigers bullpen. And for me, I'd take the Guardians bullpen over all of them because of a guy named Clase who doesn't give up runs.
That's the best closer. That's the best. I can't remember the last time. I mean, that might be the best closer since Rivera.
Yeah, he's given up one run, I think, since May. It's insane what he does. When he's in the game, it's over. There was a great can we do a stat of the day on this segment?
Sure, go ahead. Hold on a second.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
You better not be down 3 runs in a Major League Baseball playoff game, because in the last 540 playoff games where a team has had a 3-run lead or more into the 9th inning, teams are 1-539.
So there's a chance.
I've got another stat of the day, a dueling stat of the day. Career postseason hits. Wenzel Perez 2, Mike Trout 1.
What? Trouty.
Shohei Ohtani 0.
That's right.
He is. It would be a real disaster, David, if the Dodgers get eliminated as Ohtani goes 1 for 16.
Also not surprising. That's baseball.
To end the season. It would be hugely surprising.
Nope.
It would be hugely surprising if the Dodgers get eliminated and Ohtani goes 1 for 16.
Not at all, actually. That is baseball.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see it happen and see if people are surprised by it, shall we? You guys can go ahead and say that's baseball. You know what's not baseball? What he's been playing for 2 months. What he's been doing for 2 months is not baseball.
Classic rest versus rest, though, now, Dano.
The stretch of the last 2 months for Ohtani is the best thing I have ever seen in baseball, Barry Bonds included.
Yeah, 5 days off, though.
Ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous.
It's not even close. To Barry Bonds at his steroided prime, it's not even close.
Don't even do that. It's not close, David. You can't. You're not allowed to say it's not close. You're not
Aaron
allowed.
Judge this year and 2 years ago.
You're not allowed to say it's not close, David. What do you mean it's not close?
Then cut the microphone off.
I understand.
Great country.
Guys, we have a lot to get to.
I understand that Barry Bonds has had like 9 better seasons than this season by Ohtani.
And that just nullifies
advance.
your argument.
No, but you can't say it's not close because it is close. Like the math of it is close.
It's within 9 seasons. Essentially is what you're saying. I mean,
it's not even close. Res ipsa loquitur. See you later.
Is that pig Latin?
Bishop to Rook 9 on you, Dan. Got your ass.
Yo, Dan, I was like, what the fuck did you just say?
I didn't have a move for that. When he went,
that's game over.
When he blew a mist of Latin in my face, of old school Latin, I really didn't have an argument for that other than
Is there new school Latin? What does that mean? Old school Latin.
Dímelo.
Binga.
Can you tell me, David, if there is something that you feel like you can expect from the baseball playoffs?
Well, you can expect that a team who scores first is going to win the game, and a team who out-homers the other team is going to win the game. What I can't expect is what is hard for me to explain. Yesterday, 3 out of the 4 road teams won. And it is a major issue within baseball circles how little home field matters and how you fight for it all season long in theory, but that at the end of the day in a short baseball series, it just doesn't matter as much. So they're always looking, and when I was in the game, we're always looking to find a way to further penalize teams that finish behind other teams other than just home field. And there's never been able to be a vote to figure out what that can be. They're trying it this year, and they've tried it for the last couple of years, with this round being all in the higher seed stadium. So 3 straight days, 3 straight games, all in the higher seed. But as we saw yesterday, it didn't matter.
Can you tell us, because you've been on with us before and you kind of hate that you feel like you got a criticism down here with your team, which won 2 championships, that the Heat and the Dolphins don't get? And I know that you think that Mike McDaniel and Stephen Ross have skated for all things Dolphins. So you see that Monday night performance and think what?
The only thing I was thinking watching it is that you're only as brilliant as your best player and how that best player performs. And Mike McDaniel was this boy genius who everyone couldn't wait to write columns about, that this is it. We are set in Miami with greatness, with Tua now signed and Mike McDaniel. And now he looks like a putz because all of a sudden he has a terrible quarterback. And then you pan into Stephen Ross and show him in the suite with Dan Marino or whoever he's with. And there has not been a less successful owner in your town in the history of sports in Miami than Stephen Ross. Not one. No matter how you slice it. Not John Henry, not Bruce Sherman, not Wayne Huizenga, not, David Epstein with the Panthers. None of them. Steve Ross is the number one. And for some reason, people are like, oh, we love going to F1.
I want to go back for a second on something you said because we skipped right over it, and I don't think we should. You said the Mets-Braves series was fixed, that the doubleheader was fixed.
I didn't know if he was joking there.
Both teams were there was an incentive. Once you win the first game, the Mets were incentivized to lose the second game. And if the Braves had won the first game, they were not at all incentivized to win the second game. They would have pitched. I would have been called up to pitch that game, regardless of whether Chris Sale was injured. So the Diamondbacks needed a sweep in order for them to make the playoffs, and that just simply wasn't going to happen. Baseball was more than happy having the Braves and Mets in it, but more importantly, there's nothing that baseball could do to make the Mets try to win the second game once they won the first, because they wanted to go to Milwaukee and not San Diego.
But fixed, David? Fixed?
So we've had this discussion before. Fixed, it's not the Black Sox. It's not that there was a handshake agreement between the teams, though I'm not saying those conversations don't happen. What I am saying happens is that the desire to win a game, if you don't have it, you won't win the game. Were any of you surprised the Braves won the second game?
No, and the Braves scratched Chris Sale, Dan, because the Braves knew they were winning that game. I mean, they did with any pitcher.
So I thought that
Well, no, he
too
was
until
hurt.
Chris Sale is hurt.
That's not why they scratched him.
That's not why they scratched him, Stugotz. I thought that too. He is off the wild card roster. If he had started yesterday for the Braves, then our argument would have won. But he is off the roster, so he actually was hurt, and for competitive reasons, they never disclosed it.
David getting called up to pitch would be fun. For some reason, I have you doing it in your, business up top, but with the shorts and the thong sandals. That's what I'm envisioning.
I mean, Billy could have been called up. You can basically have anyone pitch for you. I mean, they've got to be on your roster. You have to add them to the roster, of course. But that said, that game was a joke, a competitive joke game too. And so I have no issue with it, because if I were the Mets, I would have done the exact same thing.
You should have heard before you came on here how disrespectful everybody was to Daniel Day-Lewis.
I was listening.
And your thoughts?
Daniel Day-Stewis or something you called him?
Yep.
Yeah, your thoughts
That's
on
clever. Who came up with that?
Everyone here ripping him?
There's no better actor who I've seen in my lifetime over the last 50 years of watching movies. And for making fun of his method acting, there are actors who that's what they do. They get into character and they stay in character even when the camera's not rolling. Now, is it considered a Nepo baby because he's coming out of retirement to do a movie with his son and the mother is that famous Rebecca Miller. So I'm just Arthur Miller's daughter. Just curious, why is it when he's willing to do a movie with his son, why is that looked at as anything other than wonderful?
French Stewart. French Stewart plays David Sampson in the Don Le Batard
Danny
story.
DeVito.
We've been
Tobey
brainstorming
Maguire.
here. Tobey Maguire.
Really?
Wait, are you talking about people who would play me or Dan?
You.
You. Wait, you think Tobey Maguire's Dan?
No, me.
Oh.
Right.
No, French Stewart.
Okay, point stands. Tobey Maguire. What? Doesn't matter.
How about
who.
Stugotz?
Doesn't make sense.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. That's
the greatest method actor of all.
Ooh, would you
Takes
want
on
to be
his biggest
Daniel
challenge.
Radcliffe?
I like Daniel Radcliffe,
Yeah.
but he'd have to get a new accent. No, that is not me in any way. That's a horrible photo. That is not excusable. What are you doing? Get that off.
Charlie
I'm not splitting
Day?
the screen with that.
Charlie Day.
Movie that you're reviewing this week, David.
We have to talk about the Menendez brothers. Please, Dan, you, me, and Stu, are we the only ones who were alive for that?
No, I was around for Menendez Brothers.
I watched it, David. It's so good, man.
I saw the first episode. I have not seen anything else. It's over the top.
It's so good. Forget the Milli Vanilli song, which I can't stop listening to now, which is I'm Gonna Miss You, though that's not how it goes.
Don't do that, please.
Thank you. This is the story of two sons who kill their parents in a bloody rampage mess. And the question is, did they have cause? Were they molested to the point and assaulted to the point where they could reasonably have feared for their life and killed their parents in order to save their lives? And a jury clearly, spoiler alert, did not agree, and they are currently in prison, though the jury deliberation of whether they should be put to death or not is amazing. That scene, the way they dive into the characters, the father's played by Javier Bardem, and the kids, I had not heard of the actors who played the brothers, but they were phenomenal. But I encourage everyone to watch it, because just when you think that your parents are too much, you realize that what these boys did, it is one of the most gruesome, horrific murders that I had seen up to that point in my life, and maybe even since then, in terms of a double homicide, not in terms of atrocities or genocide, but it's well worth watching. Ryan Murphy's having a moment.
The Menendez brothers murder, that happened prior to OJ, I want to say, because that was the big trial of the 90s, and then OJ happened. It's like, move over, Menendez brothers. We got bigger fish.
And that was a big thing for the Menendez brothers in real time. They were wondering about getting Johnny Cochran and whether or not having, that sort of, is there a defense? Can you get acquitted when you clearly have committed a murder? OJ got acquitted. Why can't we get acquitted? He's like the shining star for criminals who are guilty, saying, well, wait a minute, maybe we can convince 12 dodos that I didn't actually do it.
David, I saw there's been back and forth between the brothers and Ryan Murphy since the show came out, but I haven't seen it and I haven't really been following closely. So what's happening there?
So it's what's happening both with him, with Vince McMahon. Here's a news alert to everybody. If you're going to have a documentary made about you, just know it may not come off the way that you want it to, because it's a documentary. And the Menendez brothers are trying to say you misrepresented everything, because there's a lot of homoeroticism, a lot of sort of incestuous eroticism in the show, much like, with the Aaron Hernandez, there was so much focus on his sexuality in that show that Dominique Foxworth was a writer on. And in the McMahon documentary, which we can review next week, an unbelievable sort of conversation about what he did and how it makes him look. So my only thing that I would tell you is that just be careful signing away your rights for this Don Le Batard show, because it may very well make you look worse than you want to look.
That's why it's Don.
You won't fool anybody, Amin.
David, thank you for being on with us. Again, Nothing Personal is the name of the podcast, and I urge you to check it out for a number of different reasons, not the least of which is there are not a whole lot of people doing it that way. I heard the other day, I think it was Danny Parkins was saying that the job that Colin Cowherd does is the hardest in this particular space because it's just one person talking.
McLovin as David Sampson.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wow,
Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Yeah.
How about Turtle from Entourage?
Oh, Jerry Ferrara.
Thank you, David.
just Turtle.
Good seeing you.
Toby Maguire.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
Something that we're doing around here as part of our 20th anniversary celebration is a nostalgic behind the bit where we go back in time and hyper-examine and dig into the roots of a popular thing that has been done around here for 20 years. I don't remember how the Angel of Nuance and the Demon of Debate started. Do you, Billy? Do you remember where and how it started?
I don't. Exactly. And I was part of it.
You were the Angel of Nuance?
I was, and I used to fly. I had fake wings. Remember that with my hands? Those are supposed to be wings, and I'd fly off, and I'd just do a high-pitched voice, and I really just say nothing at all because, Dan, that was the whole bit. We'll get to behind the bit, but that was the bit. The dirty demon
Don't give it away.
Yeah, had a lot of hot takes, and the Angel did not.
That's right. That was the bit. The dirty demon of debate loved First Take.
But as we were doing these behind the bits, I'm with Billy. Like, I struggled. I think you did, too. I struggled to remember how we came upon certain bits, you know?
Well, most stuff is unorganized around here and just emerges when we're in the middle of it.
Well, it was all like the questions were very much like, so do you remember exactly what led to this bet and this punishment? I was like, no, it was like 15 years ago. I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
We do a daily show 5 days
It's
a week.
a lot, right? I mean, it's nostalgic. It's just, did you have any difficulty remembering the details for a lot of these
This is
things?
not, I'm not making this up when I say I get home and Valerie will say, how'd the show go? What'd you talk about? And I'm like, I have no idea.
It moves fast.
It was good.
Yeah. How was work? I said, it was work. We did it, and now we're done.
Behind the bit, though, was something that is meant to bring out memorable stuff that we've done in the past. And so we do dig around in the bucket here. Let's hear, if not how it began, because no one can remember, let's get nostalgic about the Demon of Debate going up against the Angel of Nuance.
This is
behind the bit.
This is behind
the bit. This is behind
the bit.
A very serious retrospective on some of your favorite Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz bits.
How did this demon character come to be?
I'm not super sure on the origins, other than we really like to make fun of debate television.
Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan came back, when Michael Jordan came back to the Bulls, and they had added Tony Kukoc, who was like the best
from playing baseball.
Yes.
Compared to what was going on ESPN, our show kind of stuck out.
There were times that I used to have to, like, I had wings with my hands, and then I'd sometimes would fly out of the screen. And all of this was on ESPN, so it's strange.
And also just a device to integrate video, because that was a new toy for us back then.
Brady and Belichick are the most successful coach-player duo probably since Bill Russell and Red Auerbach. Incredible.
The hell I just hear? Pick a damn side.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say equal? Did you not make a pick when he asked you to pick a team? The hell, man? It's either Patriots or Spurs.
Understand
It's a
myself.
simple damn question. And clearly it's the Patriots. The longevity in such a physical sport is so impossible to do over such a long period of time. Now do you know how to do it?
How did you end up playing the Angel of Nuance?
It wasn't planned. It just kind of happened one day where all of a sudden there was a devil sitting in front of me, and the devil was screaming about sports and forcing them to make decisions and really argue with each other. And I felt like, we just need a little unity, a little peace in our lives. So I became this angel character that really never actually said anything, never had an opinion on anything, never really had a thought, just kind of wanted everybody to have a good time. Never wanted a team to win or lose, just as long as everyone had fun. That was the Angels' mission.
Audio is my favorite medium because you have this amazing canvas in your mind, and the demon, even though he's been very vivid in the past about how many nipples and claws and talons and hoofs that he has, I've lost track. You can put yourself there.
Look at me. Look at the center one, right at the center of my skull.
The center of
the center.
The center
They
of
line up
eyes.
directly with my nipples. All 6 nipples. Look at Look at my 4 eyes and my 6 nipples in the middle. All of them at the same time and tell me who's better.
How did you feel about the Angel of Nuance?
I love the Angel of Nuance, and when the Angel of Nuance integrated itself into the Dirty Demon, it happened very organically to the point that I didn't really have imaging for it at first. And if you've ever watched the segments, the Dirty Demon and Debate, whenever the Angel of Nuance chimes in, I'm usually left scrambling because I'm also in character but also running the board, and they're off of 2 different pots. I personally love the Angel of Nuance injecting itself into things, but it was, from a technical standpoint, very tricky to do all those things and spin all those plates at once while maintaining character and making sure it didn't sound like absolute dog shit. But outside of that, the audience really liked it, and it became synonymous with the bit.
Why can't we just be satisfied saying that they're all in the top 500? 449 players on the opening day roster this year, Dan. A couple people came in and out, so let's just say these are the top 500 best basketball players in the world.
Okay, very good.
Better.
We need to do some work on your entrance, though. Like, it's very clunky, and we're just sitting there and waiting around for your Angel of Nuance music, and you're not really nuanced. You're just agreeable.
How did Mina feel about the Demon's crush on her?
I think I was more uncomfortable with it than Mina.
He's new there. His responsibility is to punish players when they do bad things, to hold them accountable, not to prevent them. That is on the players. Whatever happened to personal responsibility? Millennials!
Whoa! Get out of the way. What's up, Ma? How you doing? That was nice. Nice and hot. It's already pretty hot down here.
Oh my God!
Is your daddy a drug dealer, girl? Because you're dope.
Look at what you lured out.
I'm liking what I'm hearing.
I've never seen the romantic side of the Dirty Demon of Debate.
That's exactly how I imagined it.
Baby, your eyes are the color of the ocean, and I'm lost in sea.
This is the most uncomfortable I've been.
Hang on. Let me get my cell phone out. I want to show my mom a picture of my next girlfriend. Look over here.
Oh, yes, it's Match.com, baby, the Dirty Demon of Debate.
Yes. Give me another one of them, too.
Give me another one. Oh, you're being very pushy.
And then your number, Ma.
How uncomfortable.
I don't know if I could pull that off these days, and I didn't really warn Mina that was coming. I think Mina had never really heard the character before, and then the demon just so happened to have the hots for Mina Kimes, and that became canon. I mean, it was still plenty awkward in the time that we conceived it. I'm talking about it like it was in 1994. No, it was still like at a time where it was pretty taboo to have a demon openly hit on a now Emmy-nominated studio analyst. I think Mina liked it. I think a lot of bad people say that about people they've victimized in the past. The Dirty Demon wasn't subject to compliance training.
Demon had a crush on Mina Kimes. I would think that Mina, I don't know. If the devil had a crush on me, would I like it? I don't think so.
Would you ever want to do this bit again, or should it go to heaven?
No, I'd like being the angel again. I have to figure out a new way to fly and a new flight pattern, but I'd be the angel again.
The demon's just a messy piece of a messier piece that is one big mess.
You are not nuanced. I don't understand all the difficulties you have with nuance.
We can't all be great at everything, Dan.
Is this good radio?
No.
I love these behind the bits because they give you a look back 6, 7, 8 years from where we are today. And Billy is wearing the same exact hat that he was 6, 7, 8 years ago, whenever that was. You remember when that was? What year that was?
I don't. I was wearing the same hat, and I almost put on that hoodie today.
Oh,
wow. But Skip is in town, and I was like, I don't know, that one's a little bit beat up.
For Skip?
Well, not really, but it just didn't wear a 20-year-old hoodie.
Thank you, Billy. I do appreciate that.
Right before, Dan, we were talking and talking about doing these things, and I told you and Stugotz privately, I was like, I don't think I sat down to talk about this bit. Like, I don't think they interviewed me for this because I just don't remember even sitting down for this piece that just aired.
So let alone not remembering the origins of Age of Nuance, you don't even remember talking to them about the origins
I don't
of Age
remember
of Nuance.
talking to them about it. Should I see someone?
I believe that everyone around here is
You were the star.
Doing too much, and therefore some of the things are falling in the crevices.
We talked about Stugotz's voice aging horribly, your voice aging a lot more gently. Mina's voice has also aged. Have you guys noticed? Back then, Mina was excited and very hyper to talk, and now when Mina comes on, she coming on this week, she's really cool. She's
more
too
relaxed.
Cool.
Yeah,
she's too cool for you guys and your stupid questions.
Jaded Daniels.
Yeah.
I think Mike canceled the Dirty Demon of debate like halfway through. Got like an expose on something. I was like, whoa, this is weird. What happened?
I still have no idea how it started, though. I mean, no one does. When I'm doing those things, I just talk until something good comes out.
That's it.
Yep, that's it. Until
They'll
I
clean
remember
it up
something.
in editing, yeah.
I'm with Tony on this one. Where did this scandal, this Me Too scandal around the Dirty
Quietly,
Demon
we quietly put it in a dustpan, and maybe people didn't notice that Stugotz's hot take diva disappeared from one day to the next, and I learned like 3 years later that was something that was only meant for him to have a belly and lipstick on, and that disappeared, and nobody told me, and then I found out 3 years later.
It was canceled?
Well, quietly, unbeknownst to me, it was canceled.
Bring it back, or
no? Bad idea. Okay. So I saw on there on Behind the Bit, I saw that they put in the graphics an example of Yelly Sports TV, what Yelly Sports TV is. And I want to play for Amin an example of this because I think we can all agree that LeBron James, whatever you think of him in terms of historical ranking, is an amazing basketball player. We can get consensus there, no disagreement there. And also that what he's doing at this age is amazing. And I just want to play for Amin Stephen A. Smith's reaction to LeBron James saying, yeah, I'm pretty good at 40 years old, the oldest player in the league, because I think that Stephen A.'s reaction is so outsized and so cartoonish as to render it a symbol for what it is that we're doing in the modern age in terms of not being able to celebrate really historic greatness, artists being artistic because we're too busy yelling about them.
At my age, the miles that I have, and to be able to play at the level I played at, it gave me even more a sense of, I do have a lot in the tank, a lot. And I can help a big part of a team win the ultimate, and whatever, if it's gold or if it's a Larry O'Brien trophy or whatever the case may be, I can still get it done.
LeBron James, what's up, bro? Are the Lakers gonna win? Oh, you gonna be relevant? You gonna get bounced out in 5 games in the first round? You gonna get swept whenever you see Jokic in the vicinity and you ain't got Steph and the crew to help you out? But when you going against Serbia, what you gonna do? That's the point. Don't change the narrative. Don't let them change the narrative. Oh, I'm in the best shape and I feel like I can do. Everybody know how great he is. Everybody know he's a champion. Everybody know he's in phenomenal shape. We even chronicled how much money he spends on his body. $1.5 million last time we checked. More than you, Shay. More than you, Shay. But it don't matter. At the end of the day, he got to show up. And are the Lakers going to be relevant? That's the damn narrative. This ain't as the Lakers turn. This ain't no damn soap opera. Handle your business. We want to see you win basketball games and go deep into the playoffs. That's the subject matter. Don't change it. Don't change it.
Marcus Spears looks so concerned. It's
Jeff Saturday in there for some reason?
He is, yeah.
Jeff Saturday's having fun, but Spears and Shannon Sharp both look like they're walking past a man being taken away in a straitjacket, and they're like, that poor guy. He finally cracked.
He's right, though.
Don't you guys think that it's corrosive, the need to have the priority be just the making of television? That the thing that's most important isn't what you're saying. Just be cartoonish in the way that you deliver it.
We just finished talking about how when we go home, we have no idea what we talked about that day.
Agreed, but it doesn't feel like it's ever like this to me.
But Stephen A. is in the game of getting ratings. He's in the game of giving hot takes. I mean, he's doing a show called First Take.
To be clear, you believe everything you say?
Yeah, mostly.
You're doing it wrong.
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's how you do it, and it's why the whole thing works. I'm the straight man, Billy. Perhaps you haven't realized how it is that you get to be the guy that you are who doesn't believe anything he says.
Behind the bit. It's a lie behind the bit that we're doing right now.
Dan, maybe that's the problem, is that we are all doing that, and you can't fathom doing that because we've had to do it for you.
That is
while
correct.
You play the straight man. Man, it's hard.
Wait,
it's
so-
hard being goofy all the time.
So Dan is the guy in the straight
Ain't that
jacket?
the truth, sister?
Placed in the straitjacket by the fact that I'm sitting there talking to David Sampson and he blows a Latin mist in my face and I don't know what to do with it. Yes.
Got your ass on that one.
He really did.
Yeah.
I've rarely.
First time I've heard you speechless.
I have rarely been that startled. It's just a bunch of gibberish in Latin that I had nothing for. I put my sword down to feed it.
It is an amazing distraction technique. You called Stugotz a word ninja. That was a word ninja move. He threw the smoke bomb of Dominus Ominous, and you were like, what? And he said, I win the debate. And he just ran away in a cloud of smoke.
Speaking of words that don't mean anything, here is your weekly useless sound montage.
There will be things that will change. It's kind of hard to say exactly what those things are, but we're definitely in need of it.
I just gave the game ball to somebody else, so I feel awful right now.
When your defense holds them to 10, you gotta win the game 100% of the time.
We'll look at the tape and try to improve on that. You got to look at yourself in the mirror first, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror first.
I changed my pants at halftime.
I didn't play good enough. That's what it comes down to. The opportunities, but ultimately it starts with me.
Who has it better than us? Nobody! Thanks, Dad.
The guys just never flinched and blinked. I appreciate his fight, but he and we were a little bit sloppy at times, too sloppy to comfortably secure victory.
And the good news about it is we got another Pro Bowl quarterback, man. So that's the least of my worries, man. Strike up the band, baby. It's going to be fun tonight.
Offensively, look, the turnovers, we don't have a team that can lose the turnover battle and expect to win a football game.
Honestly, we're not good enough to be able to play against ourselves in the defense.
The guys rose up to the occasion, and then we honored the football.
What I'm not going to do is ride the emotional roller coaster that this season will take you on.
Really, for me, man, stats are for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff.
As coaches, we can't go out there and make the plays, right? It's a two-way street.
Quick shout out to the big guys.
We know what's possible. We know what we're capable of, but we got a long way to go. And we got a lot of work to do.
They were playing that song about you swag and surf, and the whole stadium was moving. And I looked around, I was like, this is pretty sweet.
It was a trying week, to be honest, right? There's a lot of hoopla and stuff.
They kicked our butt.
He told me his mom is 8 days older than I am. So there's no chance in the world that he thinks I'm cool. So
It's like we're not playing our best football, but we're winning football games. And that's a big credit to our defense. It's a big credit to guys stepping up offensively in second halves. I'm glad we're getting wins, and we'll keep building and try to keep getting better.
First, we had to stop kicking our own butt.
Whether or not we're good enough to handle all the or ready to handle all the kids.
It's one way to do it. The other way is hold them accountable. I mean, we haven't had an issue. We've had one false start.
We wanted to start fast. You know, it's easier said than done, but they came out and they started off real fast. They were crisp. They were clicking, and, you know, they got an early lead.
As I mentioned, I'm appreciative of the fight, but I'm not congratulating them for it. That's the business that we're in.
No, it is. I mean, you can't, losing is not something you ever want, and whatever. Don't like to lose.
We have, I would say, generally around here, an accountability problem. But do any of you actually ever take a good, long, hard look in the mirror? Do any of you actually do
I've done it
that?
before. Yeah, I have.
And?
Nothing.
I would think that your appraisal wouldn't be, I would think that you wouldn't love whatever it is that aging has done to, to you in the mirror. I tend to not stay in mirrors very long.
I try to avoid them at this point.
Quick peek and keep it moving.
Yeah, sneak a peek.
But what about when you're like flossing and you're doing like your nighttime routine, you wash your face, you kind of check things out. You don't look in the mirror?
I'm trying not to make eye contact with the mirror. I'm avoiding. I spend a lot of time.
The mirror doesn't lie.
I spend a lot of time. Right, that is correct. Yours does.
I lie to my mirror.
That's right. It lies right back.
No, it tells me the truth. It does.
Rick Pitino tries, but he never sees anything.
Is there like
kind
of like
he's doing
Tapper,
Tapper?
like,
He's Is
it not?
craning his head
Where
around?
is it?
Maybe something's in the way.
I would love to know where it is that saying started, where someone said that the way to appraise how it is that you need to look at things most honestly is by looking straight into the mirror and do it for a good, long, hard time.
Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. That's where it started.
He's right.
Chris Cody, thank you, Billy. I appreciate you always saying what you mean.
I'm on it, Dan.
Chris, do you have Gas Bag of the Week, please?
I do. And it's very exciting, Dan, because I'm not going to make the announcement this week. In weeks past, I would say who it was, and I'd play a clip. But this week, the Gas Bag of the Week will be delivered to us by Christopher Mintz-Plasse. He's McLovin, and he's at some sort of con, some fan expose, and he's asked about being referred to constantly. And you'll hear in here who our Gas Bag of the Week by who he mentions when he's talking about just constantly being called McLovin.
Don't get me wrong, where someone screaming McLovin at me is obnoxious. And the most intense times, the weirdest times are in professional settings. Because I get it, walking down the street, people go, you're McLovin. I'm like, yeah, I was in the movie, my name's Chris. But I did an interview on ESPN with this guy, Dan Le Batard. And I'm like, well, no, this is a professional guy. He's got my name on the sheet. And he called me McLovin like 5 times in the interview. I'm like, dude, my name's like literally right in front of you, and I had to call him out, so that can get a little obnoxious. And on a bad day, if someone like grabs me and says it. But overall, can we get hell yeah?
I have felt bad about that since it happened.
So, Dan, you are the
Gas Bag of the Week.
Congratulations, man.
Yes, I deserve that. I don't think it's really the spirit of what Gas Bag of the Week is supposed to be, but I deserve that, and whatever shame comes eternally from having done that.
To be fair, Dan was Gas Bag of the Week back when that interview was done, not this week.
It's this week, though.
But this is the week that we're doing Gas Bag of the Week.
Gas Bag of the Week.
The worst part, Dan, is you have an embarrassing moment like that. And Christopher Mintz-Plasse is a very accomplished actor. He's been in a lot of funny things.
He's McLovin, though, if we're being real.
No, he's been in a lot. To me, I always think of him as role models. Augie in role models. But the thing I think about is if I had that kind of moment, I'm like, well, that guy's never going to remember. He did the car wash. He did 1 million shows that week. He'll never remember my name. Nope.
I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I felt bad about it when it happened. I felt bad about it when he called me out about it, and I feel bad about it now that you've made me the Gas Bag of the Week. And
it's an honor,
and
man.
he's mentioning it in conferences. Well, it can be an honor, but not when you're ashamed of what you actually did.
Well, I mean, that's on you.
Agreed. I'm taking a good, hard look in the mirror.
Also, do you guys think this jeopardizes our plans to cast him as David Sampson in the Don Le Batard story?
Gives him another option for a character that people can scream out, Samson!
Yeah. I mean, is that better, though?
That is better.
Not around these parts.
Oh.
Did you guys find somebody that you agreed on should be playing Samson? Because him saying Tobey Maguire is one of the
ridiculous.
least self-aware things I've ever heard.
He needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror. Dan, no, but we all agreed Chris Cody, the Sandlot guy, we all agree we're casting him. Name your price, sir. You are our man.
Yeah.
He hasn't aged as well, though.
Do we have any others that we
actor,
are
right?
casting in the Don Le Batard show with Daniel Day? Or
Patrick Renna.
Stugotz.
Sorry, I couldn't think of his
Stugotz,
name.
thank you.
You got it.
Do we have anyone else that we're casting? Who are we casting as Amin? Be careful here.
Amin?
No, he should choose his own, right?
Denzel.
He should.
The best part.
You like that one, right? That was a quick pass the ball over. Amin? Your thoughts?
You threw it over there with a question mark because you're like, yeah, I don't want this. Amin, you go ahead and take the
Little hot potato.
Little screen pass on the side.
No, I've never heard Amin's name said with a question mark before. Because you're not allowing us to mock him by just throwing the ball right back to him.